my name is John Roche, and I'm a professor at Western Connecticut State. And my question is, do you think, in your experiences speaking with recent grads, do you think there's anything that we as journalism educators might be overlooking? You know, preferably something, you know, we're not talking about how to write a strong lead or, you know, FOIA request. Is there something that you see as a recurring thing we might be overlooking in our classes, in our courses, or in our conversations between courses?
Great. Cheryl, do you want to take that first? Your initiative is affiliated with the Newmark School, CUNY. Do you want to go first on that?
Sure. I mean, I think, you know, some of the things that are important, and I think this came up in the conversation, is that there are so many skills that are now needed to be a journalist, right? It is no longer just about the reporting, like I can't just file my story and I'm done, right? I have to promote my story. I need to, you know, check my analytics and figure out how do I use that to approach future stories? How do I use that data? And it's often missing in journalism education because, you know, the educational system, we move slow, right? We move much more slowly than the industry is moving. And so I think preparing folks, and, you know, obviously Gen Z is very much so understands the role of social media and disseminating information and all of that. But I think it's important to understand the life cycle, to understand, right, I'm going to be getting data on my stories and be judged and evaluated based on how my story is doing with this data. How do I evaluate this, right? How do I know what to do with data? How am I not afraid of it and just like, that's stupid, my story is great? I think that's really important, and we don't talk about it. And then journalists go, young journalists I've seen go into newsrooms and this is happening and they're like, wait, what? Like, no one told me that this was going to be like what happened. I thought I just wrote a great story and that was it. So I just think that's really valuable for our students. And that's not something that I think a lot of us are preparing them for.
I like hearing that. I'm teaching a class at NYU this semester, so I'm taking some advice here for me also. Nick, I see you want to.
Yeah, I got to jump out of my seat and echo that. Like, I believe that so strongly. If I think about how the youngest journalists at Axios work, they're writing the headline, they're picking the visual, they're working with data viz and illustrators to illustrate that story. They're going to write that story with their editor. They're going to write the SEO headline. They're going to write the social headline. They're going to talk to the social desk about tweeting that. It's so much different than, I think back to when I started at the Post. It was like, all I had to do was write 800 words in AP style and I was done. And then the copy desk took it, but like every single step of the way. And the ones who are really just superstars are the ones who learn and understand that, understand why that SEO headline was good, or why this just regular headline is good, or like, did I frame this in a way that is best for readers? And then the triple bonus of all that is if they write a great story, the podcast team is going to call them, and now they got to do the podcast. And if that story is big, we're going to put them on TV. And so if you can speak coherently on an audio broadcast, if you have a television presence, that's just now you're a quadruple threat. And I think that full package is what we most look forward to, and I think is the most important thing to teach.
Love it. Jen, Lori, anything to add?
I think having as many skills in your pocket is definitely a key. I mean, I do look at resumes, and so I'm interested to see also, like, do you know how to use a camera? Like, do you shoot film? You know, can you take videos? Can you cut your own stuff? That's all really important. And I think, you know, understanding things like SEO, or how well a story does, or different ways to make something pop, or like, you know, having an understanding of like, oh my God, why did that story, you know, why is that at the top of a most read list, you know, on a different website? You know, understanding the things that, you know, can give something more legs and more longevity. Because if you're spending all this time working on your story or your newsletter or your podcast, you want as many people to, you know, hear it, or you want it to have some sort of impact. So, you know, sort of like thinking outside of yourself and your world of like writing the story, being able to think about like, how can I get people excited and wanting to read the next word, or hearing the next moment, or seeing the next like photo that I'm sharing?
Definitely.
And then to echo kind of what we've heard, the adaptability important. I think flexibility is important, understanding the metrics. This is probably a little bit more esoteric. I don't know how you teach it, but I think you can challenge it. And that is critical thinking. To be a really good thinker, to ask really good questions, not just to say, oh, okay, but drill down and be the good journalist and challenge all that you hear and that you see.